Aya.
Hello, my name is Liv, and I am working with Caitlin, McKenna, Summer, and Haley. We are art education students here at Miami University. We are not citizens of the Myaamia tribe, but we have been working closely with tribal citizens and the Myaamia Center to design the content of this lesson. Today, we are going to learn a little about Myaamia culture, which is the culture of the Myaamia tribe. When I am referencing the tribe, I will use Myaamia tribe, and when I'm talking about things that belong to the tribe, like the people, culture, and ribbon work, which is their art form, I will use the word Myaamia.
Myaamia.
We would like to start with Miami University's land acknowledgement. A land acknowledgement is a formal statement presented at the beginning of public events and gatherings that recognizes and honors Indigenous peoples as traditional stewards of the land. Miami University is located within the traditional homelands of the Myaamia and Shawnee people, who along with other indigenous groups ceded these lands to the United States in the First Treaty of Greenville in 1795. The Miami people, whose name our university carries, were forcibly removed from these homelands in 1846. In 1972, a relationship between Miami University and the Myaamia tribe of Oklahoma began and evolved into a reciprocal partnership. Including the creation of the Myaamia Center at Miami University in 2001, the work of the Myaamia Center serves the Miami tribe community and is dedicated to the revitalization of Miami language and culture and to restoring that knowledge to the Myaamia people. Miami University and the Miami tribe are proud of this work and of the more than 140 Myaamia students who have attended Miami since 1991 through the Myaamia Heritage Award Program.
Myaamia Tawenge.
Aya.
The Miami tribe has their own language as other indigenous cultures do. The Miami tribe's language team has created an online dictionary and app to make it accessible for people to learn their language. It is important for us to listen to a Myaamia person pronouncing the words correctly to learn them. The coming out story is a story of emergence. This story is the oldest story Myaamia people have for themselves. It is a historical narrative that describes the end of a journey and Myaamia people's arrival in their homelands. Where the Miami first came from, originally collected from Gabriel Godfroy and told here by Jared Baldwin, who is Myaamia language coordinator. Citizens of the Miami tribe often speak in Myaamia language, first to honor and acknowledge their culture.
Mehtame Myaamia Nipingonje sa kachawe chike. E honje sa kachawe wache. Sa kiwe onge. Itamenge. Nipingonje niweo sa chike muhki chike. Pemetana kwake sa kakwe lo. Iliti chike. Nehe sa kachawe wache. Nungin yahai minute chike. Nyanje machi ka chike. Minutene ne katangeke. Kaputu engote apoyata. Apwe piata kwetakake meto seniake newa chike saki weonge. Na pasa nape. Ila tawe chike ila tawe ange. Nehesa wenda wache. Matehko kisena akana. Ila chike ina meto seniake. Muhchininge kilema su enjina kosawache. Muhche awayake kikilema wata ehe ayawache. Unine ningike ishimewache ninga seka kweta amesale wa bangekwa. Cheke mito seniake kiyoshiake lame tangeke. Sipiwe, sakiwe sipiwe, wendangeke honje sa kachawe wache. Ininui ungonje nije wendinjeke, Sekah Queta, Sekah Gonanga, Sekah Kohqua. Ehinge. At first, the Myamis came out of the water. And the place they came out of is called the coming out place. Saakiweonge. The first Myamis to come out of the water, grab hold of tree limbs, they yelled at each other. So they grabbed hold of those tree limbs, they pulled themselves out of the water. And right there along the bank of the river, they built a town and stayed there for some time. Eventually they headed off, they left the town. After a while, one of them returned. And when he returned, he saw other people who were living there. And to our surprise, they sounded just like us. So he gave them a name, Old Moccasins, he called them. Nobody knew where they came from, and nobody knew where they went. This is what my mother's told me. My mother's Sekah Queta and her older sister, Wa Pangehqua. And all the old Indian men believed it. The river is called the Coming Out River, right there at the place where we came out of. It's for this reason we have the names Sekah Queta, Sekah Gonanga, Sekah Kohqua. Ehinge.
Myaamia.
Today, Myaamia people live all over the United States, but we're going to take a look at where they used to live. This is a map of their traditional homelands. This map was created in 2008 and depicts Myaamia homelands around 1650 to 1850. The labels all reference water, either rivers or lakes. You can see that there are no state lines or cities marked, but there are Myaamia names for rivers on the map. The rivers on the map illustrate the relationship between the people and their environment. Rivers were often used as transportation between tribes. Myaamia people would often travel by walking or running for areas shown on the map, but they would use canoes for traveling long distances. They defined space not by boundaries, but by what was in the center. They knew what was outside the boundaries of the rivers in the map. Here's the map with some important places and rivers marked. The large body of water at the top is Lake Michigan.
Saakiwe Sipiwe.
There is St. Joseph's of Michigan, the blue star on the map, which is mentioned in the coming out story we listened to earlier.
Cochisa Sipi.
St. Joseph's of Indiana, the orange star on the map, is likely named after honey locust bean pods that would fall in the river. The yellow star is
Tawawa Sipiwi. Tawawa Sipiwi.
named for the Ottawa people, another neighboring tribe. Their village was closer to Lake Erie.
Namewa Sipiwi.
Sturgeon River, the purple star on the map. The sturgeon would come upriver from Lake Erie to spawn, and the river would be full of these large fish.
Kihkayonge.
Fort Wayne, Indiana is marked with a green star on this map. A large population of Myaamia people live in this area today. Rivers are used as guides for travel. You don't need north, south, east, and west. The rivers are the highways. The Myaamia tribe map and the common U.S. state map are different in the way that the Myaamia tribe map is built around the center, core of the rivers, whereas the U.S. map has borders. The Myaamia tribe map has rivers while U.S. map has roads. This map depicts the Myaamia removal route that began in 1846. Myaamia people were forcibly removed from their homes and forced to relocate west of the Mississippi River with their families. The Treaty of 1840 is when the Myaamia tribe agrees to removal from their homelands in Indiana. They continued to attempt working within the legal framework of the treaties to avoid being removed. In October of 1846, their efforts resulted in the U.S. military being brought in to forcibly remove Myaamia people to their reservation lands in the unorganized territory in what became the state of Kansas. Following Kansas statehood, the Myaamia tribe signed the Treaty of 1867, where they were removed a second time to Indian Territory, which became the state of Oklahoma. This is where the seat of the Myaamia tribe's government is located today. These removals caused a fracturing of the Myaamia population. Today, there are over 6,700 tribal citizens living in 49 states across the United States.